Are you feeling stuck, unsure whether to stay or leave your marriage? Most people stay confused for years and years, but you don't have to be one of them. Now, in this video, I'm going to share 5 mindset shifts that will really help give you clarity and peace starting from today. Hey there, it's Jim McKenzie here from Relationships Rebuilt. And if you're here, the chances are that you're facing one of the loneliest and hardest questions any person can ask themselves. And that is, should I stay or should I go? Maybe you're lying in bed at night staring at the ceiling, wondering why it feels like this, or maybe you're mourning the marriage you thought you might have. And you're probably feeling angry, tired, empty, confused, all of the above. Well, whatever you're feeling, I'm going to walk you through 5 powerful mindset shifts that can really help you spinning in that confusion and finally start moving forward with a bit of strength and peace and clarity. And having said that, let's dive in. Now, before we start, you need to take a reality check. And before we get to the shifts, let's just ground in one truth. And that is that feeling stuck, it doesn't mean you're failing. And I can tell you that because I've worked with hundreds of clients. And the ones who wake up to their unhappiness, they're not the ones who are weak. They're the ones that are ready. And they've accepted that the marriage might survive or it might not. But in any case, you will. And that's where your power lies. So don't keep beating yourself up for feeling conflicted. Okay, be honest and start honoring the fact that you're brave enough to even ask that question. It does take bravery, and if you're brave enough to ask those hard questions, you're strong enough to start finding the real answers. And that's what these next 5 shifts are all about. So, the first shift to find clarity is what I call to decide to decide. And that does make sense. What it means is is to make a commitment to make a decision. And even if that decision is to take time out to gather the information you need to make a decision. Now, most people, in my experience, who are in unhappy marriages, they drift for 5 years, maybe 10. They make excuses and say maybe things will get better when the kids are older, or maybe when we're sort of more financially secure or successful at work. Whichever, those excuses, it's just really, that's hope. It's hope without action. And that in itself is a slower form of heartbreak. You have to commit to making a decision one way or the other. Even if you just make a decision, well, look, I'll come back to this in the next 3 months and then reassess whether things are improving. That's powerful, that's movement, and that decision fuels clarity. If you drift, it's just going to cause you more pain. Which leads into shift number 2, which is all about changing the story you've been telling yourself, which probably isn't really based in reality. Shift 2 is really about creating new data that will enable you to make a decision, just like you would do if you're buying a car, buying a house. You won't be able to solve how confused you're feeling with yesterday's evidence because it's possible you've spent years hoping your partner would change or years blaming yourself. It's time to break that cycle and start showing up differently. If you ask for your needs clearly and set small boundaries, those new actions will create new reactions. I was dealing with a client the other day, Rachel, who had a tendency to over explain her feelings and felt that her marriage was just sort of drifting away. And what she hadn't said, instead of getting frustrated, was that she just, I feel disconnected when you're always working, you're always putting other people first, you're on the phone during dinner. And her husband, who really, he had a tendency, got defensive, actually listened to her. It wasn't a miracle. It was all new information that she had worked out for herself and that she had given him. And that new information is absolutely golden when you're making a decision about making what could possibly be the biggest change in your life ever. So make sure you have that data in mind, write it down, however you store it, and, take your time to make a sort of decision based on reality. Because that leads into the next thing, which will really make you forget and not be grounded in reality, and that is fear. Shift 3 you need to make is how you master your fear. Because fear is not just screaming at you, it's convincing. It will tell you all these things like you're too old to start over. What about the kids? You'll destroy them if you leave. No one else would ever want you. Fear is a really, it plays dirty. So I'm going to stop here just for a second. And if you're going through this fear phase of wondering what to do, and it feels loud for you, I'm going to do a quick exercise, which is simply just pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Go on, I'll wait for you. 1, 2, 3. And then say to yourself, fear is just a feeling, it's not a fact. Fear is a feeling, it's not a fact. But here's the thing, most fears are based on the worst case fantasies, not reality. Okay, again, a quick comment here, a fellow called Jeff who stayed in a loveless marriage for 8 years because he didn't have self-worth, he didn't believe anyone would love him, and his self-esteem was just in the basement. Fear is a feeling, it's not a fact. I worked through these exercises of just saying, well, look, what's the best case scenario? You may find someone who loves you. He finally left, he found peace, he did the work, and eventually he found love again. And, it's not because he was perfect, it's because he stopped letting fear tell him what was possible instead of telling him what he wanted. Because this may resonate with you, which is that, the fear you have in your head sounds loudest right before you have a breakthrough in life. And so I'm telling you, don't let it have the final word. Now, if you're really struggling with fear right now, and you relate to what I've been saying, just drop an emoji in the comments, or, let me know what fears are really, escalating in you about changing your life. Okay? If any of these resonate with you, join the conversation. Now, moving on to shift number 4, and this is what I call own your 20%. Okay? Now, so if you think of it in terms of marriage, 100%, each partner is liable for 50% to try and get it right. But in reality, it may be that your partner's 80% responsible for everything that's gone wrong. But that still leaves 20%. That's the part that you need to own. That may be because you avoided confronting the situation and those tough conversations, and you avoided and stopped asking for what you needed. And maybe you just literally shut down in order to keep the peace. Now, owning your 20% of the responsibility is not about taking blame. Okay, it's not about taking blame. It's about taking back your power. Now, the moment you own your part, however small, maybe you didn't speak up, you haven't said anything wrong, you've never caused an argument, but those are still responsibilities. And if you accept that, you become capable, a person who becomes able to build a healthier relationship, whether it's with your current spouse or someone else in the future. It will improve all your relationships if you just accept responsibility for what goes wrong. Not a blame game, it's just a reality check. And the last shift, number 5, is probably the most obvious one, but also one which it's kind of the easiest one to do, but people don't do it. And that is just getting real support. So why would you try and figure out probably the biggest emotional crossroads of your life by yourself? You need help. And look, this is too big to white knuckle alone. It's too much. You won't be able to do it. Now, reaching out for help, you're not being weak, you're not giving in. It's in fact one of the strongest moves you can ever make. And that means finding a coach like me. Why not? I'm good at it. Modest. A therapist, someone to guide you, someone who can challenge your blind spots, the things that you don't want to look at, but at the same time could be empathetic for your grief, because you'll be grieving about possibly ending your relationship. But most importantly, what you need to do is to build a plan. And that's why I recommend coaching, whether it's me or anyone else. And let's be serious here. If you've got a broken arm, you'll go to a doctor and a doctor will put a cast on it. That's a therapist. But when you want to recover, so you can go to the gym again and you can run and pick up weights, you need to go to a physiotherapist or an osteopath who can help your joints. And that's what a coach does. It will give you a plan for recovery to go forward. So whatever your decision about what you're going to do with your future, don't try and do it yourself. You're worth way more than that. You're probably likely to pay out on a gym membership and you won't deal with your emotional growth and strength. That's the reality of it. It's not tangible at first, but when you feel it, you know you really will grow. And when you have real support, you're not just guessing anymore. You're building a future with a plan. Okay, your eyes are wide open. What you do for yourself, what you do for your spouse or next relationship, and what you do for your children if you have them, and for everyone around you. So whatever, whether it's me or anyone else, look to make a plan. Put your foot on the brake. Slow down. In conclusion, really, it's not just about whether you stay or leave, because it's about you. It's about becoming the sort of person who can make a choice and not just react to a difficult situation. The kind of person who lives from courage and not confusion. You're looking to become the kind of person who rebuilds, whether it's a marriage or themselves, with the data, with wisdom, and with heart. And let me tell you, you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to live a half life. You can choose something better, and it starts right now. Make that choice to commit to making those changes based on real action and decision. Don't wait until confusion drains more of your energy, because you'll make the wrong choices. Now, in all seriousness, if you're in that amount of pain, and I'd recommend you can book a strategy call with me. I will go through some of the tools that I deal with my clients and give them to reconnect and build. The link is in the description. Go and grab it. It's free, but I will challenge you to give some real answers and to commit to a process. And then if you make a decision about coaching, then that's all cool. We'll see if we can work together, or I'll recommend you to someone else. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, comment ideally. I'd love to hear, what's the biggest thing that's stopping you from making a decision right now? I read every comment and I will get back to you, I promise. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.